What is up, Karma Nation? Welcome back to another edition of our Prizepicks Player Prop Podcast. I'm your host, Joey, here with my beautiful co-host, Ethan, ready to talk about some NBA and some college football props today on prizepicks.online. But before we get into it, first things first, Ethan, how are you doing today, and how was last night's college basketball slate for you?
College basketball went not bad for the first game. You have to remember the first game, first couple weeks, is going to be tough because you don't know the minutes, you don't know the rotations. You're kind of guessing, in a way. Overall, though, Prizepicks plays, we went 5 for 6, and our one missed. The guy shot 3 for 14 and finished 3 points short of going over. So that was kind of a tough break. And then the Monkey Knife Fight play that I talked about yesterday on the pod. The half that I was really confident in, it hit easily by like 20 fantasy points, but the other half that I was more of a coin flip I was trusting projections on missed, unfortunately, by a good amount. The Kansas center only played like 20 minutes when he was projected to play like 27, 30 minutes. And then Wheeler, the point guard for Kentucky, played the entire game, almost 38 minutes out of 40. So if I would have known the minutes for each of them, I would have played it the other way, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah,
but
that's why we go a little lighter in the first week or two of all these seasons, because you never really know the rotations 100% until.
Yeah, exactly. So, but overall, I'm pretty happy with how the first night went. It'll probably be a lot like this for the first week or two, but we just keep on going, trying to make that money.
Yeah, I'm still playing a little light for NBA just because it's still the beginning of the season, still letting all the data come in. So once we get like a month into the season, that's that sweet spot for NBA where you really know all the rotations and matchups very perfectly. But let's get down into it. We're going to talk about prizepicks.online. If you have not signed up yet, use promo code KARMA, and they will match your deposit up to $100. So if you deposit $100, they'll match that, bringing your total up to $200. Also, if you're not in our Discord yet, go to dfskarma.com/chat to join. That way you never miss out on any of our free content. We post all our articles, all our podcasts in that Discord, so easy to join. As long as you're in there, you'll always stay up to date on all that. And if you're interested in getting all our official prop plays, head over to dfskarma.com/pricing. Click on the props tab. We're currently running a sale. It's $35 a month, which gets you access to all our official plays. Those are premium channels in our Discord. That's where we post those. So we're the free and the premium side. You also, on the site, get access to our Prizepicks projections tool. This does the hard work for you, comparing our projections to all the Prizepicks site props on one easy-to-read table. So we'll start with Ethan with college football props today.
All right, yeah. So there's two I'm looking at for today. Lou Nicholls over 119.5 rushing yards. If you watch this guy, he is a complete beast. They're feeding him the ball. In games that they've won, he's averaging 25 carries per game. And Central Michigan's actually 2.5-point favorite, so I expect him to have at least probably 25 carries, if not more, probably around 30 in this game. But he's been over this number in 4 straight games, and out of his 9 games this year, he's gone over 6 of the 9. So they just feed him the rock all game, and his offensive line just bulldozes people over. I was watching their game last week, and it was just crazy how he was just carrying people. He looked like Derrick Henry in that game. I'm going to be honest with you, Joey. This might be the next Derrick Henry coming to the NFL soon.
Hey, that sounds exciting. Love me some Derrick Henry.
Yeah, so this game should be on TV tonight. Check it out if you haven't. You'll be very impressed with Lou Nicholls. He's amazing. And then I'm pairing him with Terrion Stewart, under 59.5 rushing yards. So he's only been over this number once this season. And Bowling Green are actually 10.5-point underdogs in this one. So I don't expect him to have a positive game script. And the other thing going against him is Bowling Green rotates 3 running backs most of their games. So he's only averaging 6 carries per game this year. And the most carries he's had in a single game this year is 11. So the volume is not really there for him. And if they're trailing, he's going to have a negative game script. So everything to me just points the under here. Now, of course, he could get like a big 50-yard run or something like, we saw last week with that Rutgers running back against Wisconsin.
That was insane. He went over just from 2 carries.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But everything points to the under here. So I'm taking him under. So Terrion Stewart under 59.5 rushing yards and Lou Nicholls over 119.5 rushing yards. Lock that in and count your money come midnight tonight.
Excited for a little Wednesday night football.
Yeah, it's
you don't normally get
action.
That. A little Maction. Excited.
Yeah,
to
we
get
get
that
some action now on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Perfect. That means football every day of the year now, except for they got Friday night.
Yeah. College football is Tuesday through Saturday, and then NFL is Thursday, Sunday, Monday. So we are now at the point of the season where we have football every single day of the week.
That's beautiful. Get those 2-3 TVs up. Watch some NBA. Watch some college basketball. Watch some college football. NFL.
Golf,
time of the year.
Tennis, you name it. Hockey. We have it all.
Need those sports. But that segues us right into some NBA. After a nice tiny 3-game slate last night, I felt like I was forcing a couple props just because 2 blowout games and then one pretty nice game. But tough playing those 3 games, not a lot of props to choose from. So we transition into what may seem like an overwhelming 13-game slate. I don't know why they just didn't break those up a little better than that. Looking like the WNBA schedule, you get 1 game and then 6 games. But that's what we love about Prizepicks. We get all those props. We don't have to focus on all those games. If you play FanDuel or DraftKings, you really have to focus on all the injury news, every single game on the slate, because if you miss one play, you're kind of screwed for the whole night. So focus on those games you want to focus on. Focus maybe on those nationally televised games. But since there's only 3 games, we only have 2 teams on a back-to-back. Both of them are road back-to-backs. Bucks travel from Philly to New York, and then the Trailblazers travel from LA to Phoenix. So not too bad of a travel day. Only probably those nice close cities. So not a long plane ride. Probably only like an hour plane ride. So not too bad. And then we'll take a look at some Vegas lines. What I like to use for that is BetKarma.com's live trends tool. They show you how all these lines are trending. As well as the current Vegas line, so what they open at and what they close at. We only have 1 double-digit spread, so maybe only 1 blowout risk. Even though some of the spreads are closer, there might be some blowout risk, but I usually look at those double-digit spreads for the main blowout risks, and that's the Nets versus the Magic, one of the best teams in the league, when it gets one of the worst teams in the league just because they're younger, so they don't have the star power, even though they got some up-and-coming players. Then we got a couple low Vegas totals. Indy versus Denver. That's dropped 8 points since that opened up the other night. Since these lines open up early, they don't realize Jokic is going to get suspended a game. Like we all saw on the news, you couldn't watch any of those NBA, any ESPN, any go on Twitter without seeing Jokic pushing Morris after some cheap shots. So we won't get into that, but that's a lowest total on the slate. 205.5, and then the second lowest is the Raptors Celtics at 206 total. Then the highest total on the slate is the Grizzlies versus Hornets. Hornets are going to commonly be one of the higher total teams on the slate just because they're younger and they got LaMelo Ball who likes to run up and down the court. That's a 228.5 total. That's actually one of the lower totals this year. They're getting a lot lower totals just because less fouls, so less stoppage for free baskets. And then touching on what I did yesterday on the pod, we had my camera just went out on me. There we go. Yesterday, we had Dame under 25.5 points and Zubac under 7.5 rebounds. Zubac hit, but we got screwed by Dame time. Came in down 9 with 9 minutes left, and you know how that goes. Dame scored 11 in the fourth quarter to go over by 1 field goal with a minute left in the game. Still lost and went over. And then we'll touch on some injuries here. There's a lot to go over just because we got a huge NBA slate. A couple weeks into the season, everyone's magically hurt already. That's just how it goes. We got Malcolm Brogdon's expected to play. Tyrese Halliburton's questionable. Colin Sexton's out. We saw that last game. Rubio took over the point guard role there. He's out with a meniscus tear, so he's going to be out, I think, the rest of the season, or at least most of the season. Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable. Jaylen Brown's still out. Middleton's obviously still out. Tyler Hero's questionable. Dylan Brooks may be back. That's going to cut into John Morant. He's questionable. LeBron's still out. Ingram may be back. He's questionable. Markkanen still out. Bam is questionable. Then we got the Denver guys. Michael Porter Jr. is out. Jokic is suspended for 1 game, so he'll be missing this slate. So 2 of their best scorers out, and Jamal Murray's still out. That could be a blowout risk right there against Indy. DeAndre Ayton's still out. Jakob Poeltl's still out, and Pascal Siakam is back. He played his first game back last week. We saw Scotty Barnes take a little hit in scoring. That was only the second time he's gone under this slate this season. The only other time was game 1, his rookie debut, where he had only went under by a half a point. So a lot of injury news. So I'll move right into the props I'm looking at. I'm going to talk about one prop I like and then one trend I have noticed. The prop I like is Chris Paul over 9.5 assists. That's the highest hit rate on the season on any of these props so far, according to props.cash. They lay out the hit rates for whatever total they're at the moment. Chris Paul's gone over these 7 out of 9 games this season. The only 2 games he went under were both against the Kings, surprisingly. High-paced team, interestingly enough. But last game was a blowout. He didn't play much at all in the fourth quarter. He came back with 1 or 2 minutes left. He was more of a scorer. He didn't have assists in the first quarter because he had 9 points. He was focusing on scoring. Finished with 4, but 14 potential assists, which normally you aim for about a 50% mark with those potential assists, a little higher with the better teams, just because you're expecting a 50% scoring rate. With Ayton out, the previous 2 games, he had 18 and 13 assists, and in the last game he had those 4 assists, which I think that was a popular over, and a lot of people got screwed by that, just because he only went under once this season. He's normally a double-digit assist guy. Vegas has the over at -140, so it's juiced on the over. People are expecting that over, and the second highest total on the slate, and it's still trending up. It's moved 4 points already. It's at 224.5. He's averaging 20 potential assists a game, which we're aiming for that 50% mark. And that's a little down just because of that last game. He only had 14 potential assists. So aiming for around about 22. I'm expecting from him tonight against a Portland defense that isn't very good. So expect him to be able to expose the backcourt there. Last game obviously went under just because of that 25 minutes he played while focusing on scoring. So that's the first prop I'm looking at. And then another thing I'm looking at is, so the Bulls scoring prop, I've noticed a trend here. They're really concentrating their scoring. They put these guys, they added Vucevic last year, and now they got DeRozan in the offseason, and they added Alonzo Ball in the offseason as well as Alex Caruso. So we had to wait to see kind of where the scoring was going to trend to on this team, just because Vucevic is a big scorer, DeRozan's a big scorer, Levine's a big scorer. So we need to see who took over that main scoring role for them. It seems like to be Demar Derozan. He's gone over 5 of the last 7 games. He's gone over in 5 straight as well. Sorry, he's gone over 5 straight games, and 7 out of 9 games this season he's gone over. He's scoring 20 points in most of those games in general, so he's getting those shots up, averaging the most field goal attempts on that team. Vucevic has gone under 5 straight games, and 8 out of the last 10 games. The 2 games he went over was against 2 bad front courts, and his field goals attempts went up in those just because they were feeding him those games. Levine missed last game, but only missed by a field goal. He previously had gone over 4 straight games and 6 out of the last 10 games. 6 out of 10 games this season, seeing 22 plus points in all but 1 game where he shot horribly, shot only 30%. He's more of a 40 to 50% shooter. So that's why I went way under that game. And then Lonzo only went over once in the last 6 games. He's more playing that point guard role. He's more of a pass-first defensive point guard, so you get a bunch of scorers on the team. He's going to trend more to those unders until they adjust that line. And the only game he went over in the last 6 games, he had 13 points. So just not getting those field goal attempts like he is used to on his other teams, on the Pelicans and the Lakers. So his points have been down, even though his prop has not been adjusted for that. So that's an interesting trend I've noticed in these Bulls games where you can start taking advantage of before they really adjust the lines. And that is it for us, unless you have anything else to touch on.
The NBA sucks, I think, still. But outside of that, I got nothing to add, man. If you play NBA, good luck to you, because those blowouts kill props fast. And NBA is the only sport where I think people are lazy and just they don't try every game, especially on Sundays. And NBA is just my most hated sport out there. So good luck if you play that, but that's not for me.
It sucks. It's my favorite sport to research outside of NFL, of course. NFL is everyone's favorite sport. But yeah, those blowouts, they're tough. Really ruin a prop. You can't really predict them either. Some games you can stay away from expecting a blowout on high spreads, but some games they just get caught shooting in the third quarter. The Kings game last time, it was a 31-10 third quarter, just leading to a blowout.
Yeah.
So it's tough to predict those. And then foul trouble. I had John Collins over 14.5 points last night. That got screwed. He picked up 2 quick fouls in the beginning of the third quarter, and it was all downhill from there. He didn't play the rest of the third quarter, and then he was just lazy in the fourth quarter just because he didn't want to pick up another foul. So tough, but have to power through for these fun props, because when they hit, basketball is just fun to watch in those competitive games. But thanks for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more of our content. Make sure to turn on those notifications if you don't want to miss any of these props, because these lines do move quickly. And again, go to dfskarma.com/chat. That'll get you into our free Discord, dfskarma.com/pricing, and then click on the props tab to get access to all our premium props and our prop tools. And we will see you guys tomorrow for a NFL-centered prop pod.
See ya.